In 1861, a young Russian painter created something so dangerous that the Orthodox Church wanted it burned. Not hidden away, not censored, burned. The government threatened to exile him to Solovki, one of Russia's most brutal prison monasteries in the Arctic Circle. Critics called it licentious, immoral, arrogant, and mocking. The church banned it from exhibition within days. Even the press was forbidden from reproducing it. What you're looking at is Easter Procession in a Village by Vasily Perov, and it committed an unforgivable sin. It told the truth. This is not just a painting, it's an act of rebellion captured in oil and canvas. A 27-year-old artist's decision to destroy his own career rather than lie about what he saw. And what he saw was faith itself stumbling drunk through the mud, clutching icons upside down, with empty eyes and emptier souls. But here's what makes this painting truly dangerous. Perov didn't invent this scene. He simply painted what everyone in Russia already knew, but nobody dared to say. The year was 1861. Russia was convulsing with change. Just months before Perov completed this painting, Tsar Alexander II issued the Emancipation Manifesto, abolishing serfdom and theoretically freeing 23 million people from bondage. It was the most dramatic social transformation in Russian history. But freedom on paper doesn't create freedom in reality. The newly emancipated serfs found themselves still trapped, now by debt, by lack of land, by the same power structures that had enslaved them. The Orthodox Church, meant to offer spiritual comfort, had instead become part of the machinery of oppression. Here's what Perov understood that made his painting so explosive. Russian Orthodox priests received no salary from the state. To survive, they had created an elaborate system of Easter glorification. During Bright Week, clergy would go farmstead to farmstead, entering peasant homes, singing church chants, and expecting payment in return. For the priests, it was survival. For the desperately poor peasants facing a hungry spring, it felt like extortion dressed in sacred robes. Vasily Perov knew poverty intimately. Born illegitimate in 1834 in Tobolsk, Siberia, his father a German baron, his mother a local Russian woman, he couldn't inherit his father's name or title. At age 12, he began studying at the Alexander Stupin Art School. By 1853, at just 19, he enrolled at the Moscow School of Painting, Sculpture, and Architecture. By 1861, Perov had already earned a reputation as a troublemaker. His paintings consistently chose subjects the Academy didn't want shown: poverty, corruption, the gap between sacred duty and profane reality. His earlier work, Sermon in a Village, showing a fat nobleman sleeping through a sermon while peasants prayed earnestly, had been controversial enough. But the Academy gave him a gold medal anyway, perhaps hoping he'd grow more conservative. Instead, Perov painted this. He had actually tried to submit preliminary sketches of Easter Procession for his Academy competition. The judges rejected them outright. Too critical, too dangerous. So Perov submitted Sermon in a Village instead, won his gold medal, and then immediately painted Easter Procession anyway. It was deliberate defiance. Perov wasn't alone in this rebellion. Just 2 years later, in 1863, 14 students at the Imperial Academy would stage a dramatic walkout, refusing to paint the entry of Odin into Valhalla, a mythological subject they deemed completely irrelevant to contemporary Russian life. Led by Ivan Kramskoy, they formed what would become the Peredvishniki, or the Wanderers. In 1870, these rebels formalized as the Society for Traveling Art Exhibitions. Their radical idea? Bring art directly to the people instead of confining it to aristocratic galleries. They organized mobile exhibitions that traveled to provincial cities across Russia: Kiev, Kharkiv, Kazan, Odessa. By the late 1870s, these exhibitions were drawing over 40,000 visitors a year. Perov would become one of the founding members. His Easter procession had shown the way. Now that you understand the world that produced this painting, look at what Perov actually built into the canvas. Look at the icon being carried by the woman on the left. The face of the saint has been worn away completely. She's holding an image with no image, just blank wood where divine presence should be. And there, a figure carries an icon upside down. Whether from drunkenness, ignorance, or simple exhaustion, the sacred has literally been inverted. The only thing still visible is the all-seeing eye painted on one of the gonfalons. Perhaps Perov's dark joke: even when we invert the sacred, divine judgment still watches. But nothing compares to the priest at the center of this chaos. His vestments are elaborate, expensive, but his face is flushed red with alcohol. His posture is unsteady. Under his feet, if you look closely, you can see it: a crushed Easter egg, one of the central symbols of resurrection, of new life, of Christ's triumph over death, trampled into the mud by the very man meant to celebrate it. The participants' eyes are what haunt you most. Perov painted them with devastating precision. Some are glazed with drink, others stare ahead with mechanical emptiness, going through motions they've performed 1,000 times without feeling. A few faces show something even darker: cynical awareness, the knowledge that this ritual has become a transaction, not a communion. They're not walking in an orderly procession. They're stumbling, staggering, moving parallel to the picture plane like a parade of the damned passing judgment before us. This isn't faith. This is something else entirely. That crushed Easter egg isn't random either. In Orthodox tradition, Easter eggs represent the resurrection, life emerging from apparent death, the stone rolled away from Christ's tomb. The priest crushing it under his heel is perhaps the painting's most devastating symbol. The shepherds of faith literally trampling the symbols of resurrection into the mud. The defaced icon and the upside-down icon work together. One shows faith worn away through time and neglect, the divine face erased by indifferent handling. The other shows faith actively inverted, whether through ignorance, drunkenness, or both. Either way, the sacred has lost its meaning. Every posture Perov painted speaks of exhaustion, intoxication, or hollow performance. Bodies lean at wrong angles. Hands grip icons without reverence. Feet stumble rather than process. This ritual is drained of all spiritual content, becoming pure mechanical action. And here's the most subversive element. Perov painted this with complete realism. No exaggeration, no caricature. Every detail could be defended as documentary truth. That's what made it impossible to dismiss as mere satire. This wasn't the only time Perov would take aim at religious hypocrisy. In 1862, he painted Tea Party in Mytishchi, showing a bloated, well-fed priest enjoying lavish refreshments, while two emaciated war veterans, one blind from battle, are chased away from the table by servants. The contrast was devastating, the message unmistakable. But the real horror isn't what Perov painted. It's what this painting revealed about faith itself. The Orthodox Church didn't call this painting dangerous because it lied. They called it dangerous because it told a truth they desperately needed hidden: that institutional religion had become a performance, that the rituals meant to connect humanity with the divine had transformed into economic transactions, that the supposed shepherds of souls were just as lost as their flocks. Perov isn't mocking faith. He's mourning it. Look at those empty eyes again. These aren't evil people. They're broken people. The peasants are exhausted, poor, trapped in systems they didn't create and can't escape. The priests are themselves victims of an institution that forces them to extract money from people who have none, just to survive. Everyone in this painting is suffering. The drunk priest, the confused icon bearer, the glazed-eyed participants. They're all casualties of a system where sacred duty has been replaced by economic necessity. Where the week meant to celebrate resurrection has become a week of trudging through mud, extracting kopecks from the desperately poor, all while maintaining the hollow forms of devotion. This compassion for suffering would become Perov's signature. In 1866, he painted Troika, 3 child apprentices dragging a massive water barrel through a blizzard. Their faces red with cold, their bodies bent against wind and weight. It became one of the most beloved images in Russian art. The painting was so powerful that years later, the mother of the boy Perov used as his model for the central figure came to his studio. Her son had died. She just wanted to see his face one more time, captured on canvas. Perov gave her a sketch. She hung it in her home like an icon. Traditional religious paintings of the era showed Easter as transcendent, golden, filled with divine light and transformed faces. Perov painted the Easter that 99% of Russians actually experienced: cold, muddy, exhausting, hollow. And that's exactly why it had to be destroyed. When Easter procession in a village was exhibited at the Society for the Encouragement of Artists in St. Petersburg in 1862, the reaction was immediate and violent. The Holy Synod, the governing body of the Orthodox Church, protested within days. They called the painting immoral, insolent, and mocking. They accused Perov of deliberately choosing a single dirty episode from life and emphasizing human vices and weaknesses. The painting was removed from the exhibition. The press was forbidden from reproducing it. Perov was threatened with exile to Solovki, the prison monastery in the Arctic, where religious dissidents were sent to freeze and pray until they either recanted or died. But someone saved it. Pavel Tretyakov, the legendary Russian art collector whose gallery would become one of Russia's greatest museums, purchased the painting despite threats from the Holy Synod. He believed in what Perov was doing. He understood that this was Russia's art, speaking Russia's truth. The critics split into two camps. Some saw in Perov a champion of the people, an artist brave enough to expose social rot. Others accused him of killing high art by dragging it down into mud and ugliness. But here's the question nobody wanted to ask. If Perov was lying, why did the painting feel so true to everyone who saw it? This isn't just about 1861 Russia. It's about every time religious ritual becomes performance. Every time economic necessity corrupts spiritual duty. Every time we go through the motions of belief while feeling nothing. Perov would continue creating works that exposed Russian society's contradictions. The Arrival of the Governess, showing a young woman's vulnerability. Hunters at Rest, capturing the very Russian art of storytelling. Each painting a mirror held up to a society that preferred not to look at itself too closely. Perov understood something profound. The opposite of faith isn't doubt, it's going through the motions. It's carrying icons with empty eyes. It's crushing symbols of resurrection under your heel while wearing expensive vestments. The drunk priest in this painting is more honest than the one who stays sober while feeling nothing. At least drunkenness explains the hollowness. What's the excuse for everyone else? Why does this 163-year-old painting still feel urgent? Because we're still watching processions of empty ritual. Still seeing institutions claiming to represent the divine while extracting money from the desperate. Still witnessing the gap between sacred purpose and profane reality. The movement Perov helped pioneer, Russian realism, the Peredvizhniki, would dominate Russian art for nearly 30 years. Artists like Ilya Repin would take Perov's approach even further, with works like Barge Haulers on the Volga, showing the inhumane conditions of laborers with unflinching honesty, but also profound dignity. Their traveling exhibitions became cultural phenomena. Art no longer belonged to aristocrats alone. The people could finally see themselves reflected on canvas. Perov painted this at a moment of massive social transformation. Serfdom had just ended. The old order was collapsing. People were searching desperately for meaning, for guidance, for something to believe in. And what they found was this: procession through mud, icons carried upside down, priests who could barely stand, and resurrection symbols crushed underfoot. Sound familiar? The painting survived. Thanks to Pavel Tretyakov, it wasn't destroyed. It wasn't burned. Instead, it entered the Tretyakov Gallery, where it hangs today in Moscow, a permanent reminder of what happens when art chooses truth over comfort. But the image that stays with you isn't the whole painting. It's that Easter egg crushed into the mud. Because that's what Perov captured. The moment when symbols of resurrection get trampled by the very people meant to protect them. The question is whether anything can resurrect faith itself once its supposed guardians have crushed it underfoot. Perov never explained what he intended with this painting. He let the image speak for itself. Was he attacking faith? Mourning it? Both? Was this angry criticism of the clergy or compassionate documentation of a system that destroyed everyone it touched? Did he want to burn it all down? Or did he desperately want to save what remained? The painting doesn't answer these questions. It just shows you the procession, drunk, exhausted, hollow-eyed, stumbling through mud on what should be the holiest week of the year, and asks, "What do you see?" In 1861, The Orthodox Church saw blasphemy that had to be destroyed. Perhaps they were right to be afraid, because the most dangerous paintings aren't the ones that attack faith. They're the ones that hold up a mirror and force you to see what faith has become.